one guy wanted to know how good the defense is going to be this year. Obviously, a very generic question. So I think the defense is going to be just fine this year. Are we going to be what we were last year? No, obviously not. I don't think that's the case. I think our cornerbacks and safeties will be much improved, which is hard to say. They were pretty good last year. But I think they're going to be really good this year, which is probably a good thing. They're going to have to cover a little bit longer with our defensive tackles and defensive ends the way they are this year. A little bit of depth there, obviously a little less power when you lose your entire defensive line. But I think the overall defense is going to be pretty good. Do you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I agree. I'm not really too worried about the defense. I think James Skalski said it best. You got a lot of guys that you don't know their name, but you're going to get to know their name,
Right.
and by October you're going to know their name very well. Dabo Swinney has already said that Skalski is an all-conference player in his mind. To be honest, I look at film on Chad Smith and I love every bit of it. Chad Smith was like 1 point away from on Rivals from getting his 5-star, so he was very close to getting his 5-star. And these guys have been there for quite some time. They understand the playbook. You've got Isaiah Simmons understands the playbook, up and down. He had the second to most snaps under AJ Terrell last year. Obviously, secondary I see no problem with. You've got a ton of guys back there in safety. Like guys like Nolan Turner showed up out of nowhere last year and did great. And then you've got cornerback that even with the loss of McMichael, you still got adding DK in there, a straight up
Yes.
starter. I don't see any problem there. Defensive end, like Clemson Carson said, no problem defensive end, really. I mean, you've got 5-star guy there, KJ Henry ready. Mark Childress said he liked the way he looked. Obviously, XT looks great. And he does have to learn how to. I know Todd Bates mentioned he's got to learn kind of how to get instead of just blitzing in, right? Instead of just going free, instead of just
Yeah.
going around the outside, he's got to learn how to stuff some things. Learn how to kind of like take up blocks instead of getting around blocks. Sometimes it's better to just take up a guy and let other people around you work than it is to try to get around people. I felt like that was some of the issue when you had back in the day with like Sap. Would try to just always go around, always just trying to go around, and then you would get where if you had a quarterback that was smart enough, would step up, and then it would just destroy that outside move. So I think it's good to kind of be more versatile than just going around. Hey, obviously we love to see those knockout sacks that he did on Dungy, but he needs to obviously add his skill set add to his skill set. I'm concerned. I don't know, man. I am concerned about the not concerned, but I want to see what the defensive line's going to do. You
Yeah.
can't like you checked me last time we were on the show. It's not going to be apples to apples when you lose 3 first rounders and
Yeah.
I mean, it's just not going to be. There's no way
Right.
it can be apples to apples. So, but remember, like Bryant wasn't a big 5-star guy. Um, I don't believe Farrell was a big 5-star guy either. So it depends on where you're looking, but um, these guys kind of had to develop into it, and this is kind of their first time on the big stage. I know Niles got some chances against Alabama, but Alabama wasn't our most difficult game, so it was kind of an easy game for us. Um,